Thanks, John. Our next speaker, really, for those who don't, does not need an introduction, Dr. Richard Rooney. He's the father of Annie. He's a retired surgeon, and I've never met a man who had the ability to focus his sights on something, do the legwork, the homework, the effort, and get the results that we've seen here today. He speaks on behalf of Annie. Please welcome Dr. Richard Rooney.
I'd like to start by making an observation on Dr. Terry Johnson, who actually is a very modest man, but also truly a great man. Among the accomplishments that he achieved was setting up an integrated pre-med medical school relationship with Ohio University that in the end essentially abolished the doctor shortage in all of Southern Ohio. He's accomplished others, but I always have thought that that was one of the major accomplishments that really has not received wide enough recognition. I want to tell you three things. When a loved one is killed by a drunk driver, the family is shattered, and sometimes the friends of the victim are shattered also. The second thing I want to tell you is that recovery is never complete, is extremely painful, and takes a long, long time and is very slow. The third thing is the lesson of all these studies and posters to come from this is this unchallengeable fact that the wider the deployment of ignition interlock breathalyzer devices, the lower the death rate from drunk driving. It almost really doesn't make that much difference the actual technique of getting them out and deployed, but the more that are deployed, the lower the death rate. And that is something that has taken a while to get across in the course of our law and developing this law. Annie Rooney was born April 14, 1977, and she passed away July the 5th, 2013, although she really was brain dead by 10 p.m. the night before. She was a 1995 graduate of Western Reserve High School in Cleveland, where she was a star track athlete, star volleyball player, and a star basketball player, and also 1 year Actress of the Year at the school play. In 1999, she graduated from Brown University. Her junior year was spent in the Czech Republic, and I was privileged by her arranging for me to see a full-scale mock-up of the Iron Curtain in a museum in Budapest. She graduated in 1999. In 2000, the year 2000, after college, she wrote for various internet startups in New York and in San Francisco. One of them was an economics column about which she and I had a number of disagreements about the principles involved. In 2001, she found her way to Bozeman, Montana, where she became a bison herder on a buffalo farm. But shortly thereafter, participated with Montana State University's radio program, became an assistant music director, and eventually had her own radio program in the evenings. Eventually Sunday evening prime time from 6 to 9. And every once in a while, if she thought I had behaved properly, she would let me read public service announcements on the radio station. She was trying to decide what to do with her life, and from 2002 to 2004, because an unknown excellence in science was stumbled upon, she studied physics and math and actually pre-med courses for 2 years, and actually taught physics lab in one of the physics courses at Montana State. Then she decided that when it came down to it, she liked the theater of the courtroom the best, and attended Lewis and Clark Law School in Portland, Oregon from 2004 to 2007. She spent some time in Cincinnati contemplating doing tax law, but ended up back in Montana in the prosecutor's office, aggressively protecting and pursuing women who had been abused. And she really was so good at this that really, I would, because of many difficult circumstances, she probably saved 4 to 5 lives a year because of her efforts. We received a letter a year or two after she passed from the former dean of the law school at Portland at Lewis and Clark that indicated that in his opinion Annie had made the greatest impact for good on the classes at the law school in its entire 40 years of tenure. In 2012, she moved to Chillicothe because her mother and I were getting older, and she had many friends back here to establish a law practice. She began by being an assistant prosecutor in Chillicothe, Ohio, for the city, and then started her own law practice in the beginning of 2013. And this lasted until her tragic end. Actually, she was so popular with the lawyers in Chillicothe that right off the bat they made her secretary of the Ross County Bar Association. She had traveled all over the world, and she had friends everywhere. She was the most gifted person I have ever known. She was warm and charismatic and had a way of making people just feel good about themselves. She had a sweetness and gentleness that just suffused the room, and her humor would light a room up. She was artistic and always considered herself first an artist. And she was a wonderful photographer, wonderful with colors, and painted extensively abstract paintings which hang in our home today. As an athlete, she was a wonderful athlete and evolved into a really a national class mountain bike rider when she returned to Ohio. She's to an extent that always, on reflection, astonishes me. She shared her life with us. She shared all the good and the great experiences, but also some of the sad experiences that she had. The memories I have of touring Prague and touring Budapest, a mountain marathon running race in Montana, 270 miles to the headwaters of the Missouri, 15 teams of 15 members each, semi-professional. I was her driver. They would run at 3 a.m. from 4,000 feet, 2 miles up to 6,000 feet. And I was her driver. I got short of breath walking from one side of the car to the other. I also was privileged to see her perform in the courtroom. It was amazing. She had a sweetness and gentleness about her that I'd never seen in a courtroom before. The jurors loved her, but not only that, the witnesses did too. Everybody seemed to want to please her. And oftentimes when she was interviewing adversaries on the witness stand, they were overcome by the sweetness and gentleness and virtually answered every question she asked them, regardless of the consequences. In fact, after Annie's loss, we actually received letters of appreciation from Annie from many of the jurors who had sat in on her case. I'd never heard of that happening before.